Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to episode 100 of the Seezus Show. Wow, I don't really like to celebrate, but I think this calls for a special occasion, man. I just, you know, I'm on episode 100. I think about when I graduated from undergrad in December 2016. I just kind of figure out, a couple things that I was passionate about when I wanted to, um, you know, get into. And I remember just sitting down in my mom's crib in the spare room, and I was just watching a lot of different, sports analysts give their impressions on the NBA, talking X, Y, and Z. And I'm just like, yo, like, I know I can be that person that that sheds light and speaks from a logical standpoint with my own little twist to it as well too. So to start with 8-minute shows and have the shittiest microphone to having premier guests come on and having these these all these little increment changes to get to where I'm at right now is it's just been truly um, a humbling experience and thanks to everyone that's been there since day one, the newcomers, people constantly showing love and support, my entire team, and everyone that just supports the movement. So I appreciate you guys, and in the wise words of Kobe, job's not done, job's not finished. So I'm gonna just continue moving forward and never lose passion and see where it ends up at as well too. So appreciate you guys and hope you guys have been having a great 2021. And before we get into today's hottest topics, I want to rehash last episode. On last episode, episode 99, it was Sir Seezus, myself, my friend Julius Evans, my brother Daryl Sharp, and we just chopped it up on our, early beginning season impressions and some other things to go along with that as well too. So I hope you guys enjoyed that in-depth breakdown of everything that was going on, and it's only right to have Trade Day XXIV join episode 100. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, make some noise for my boy, my co-host, Trey Day XXIV. What it do, baby? Let's get it.
What's up, everybody? You already know it's your boy Trey Day. All day, the youngest one, the oldest one, the middle one, the biggest brother, the youngest brother, everything in a bag of chips. Yes, I am that I am. Shouts to Kyrie, he heard me. But man, we here, baby. It's episode 100 of the season show, man. I mean, long time coming. I feel good. What's good, Sir Season?
Man, I feel great, bro. I was just saying, like, it is funny. Like right after I graduated, December 2016, I was like, man, I'm seeing all these, other, big name people like the Colin Cowherds, Stephen A. Smiths of the world, Nick Wright, all these guys, Skip Bayless, all these guys. And I'm like, yo, like I'm pretty knowledgeable about what the fuck goes on. I'm a junkie when it comes to shit. So why can't I do it? So
Yeah.
just started doing it. I remember I can't remember the name of the brand, but I had like picture like those cheap ass like $15
Headphones.
wireless headsets. They were like headphones, but like they were meant for like gaming, and
Yeah.
it was like two jacks and then it had like a little record joint. Like I remember listening to that. I think the first episode I was talking about was like Carmelo Anthony, probably
Okay.
when he was still on like the Knicks or some shit like that. When the triangle had happened or something like that. So
Sheesh.
to go from that to having like 8-minute topics to going on full weekly by weekly, getting guests and having you come on full time to us having the rough, choppy little intro videos we used to do
Yeah,
to
yeah,
having a
yeah,
little mic just with us using it to go into video and still continuing this journey. It's
yeah.
been pretty humbling. So I'm excited. I don't really like to um, celebrate any milestones, but I think this deserves a milestone right now. So I just
Of
want to,
course.
show my appreciation to you and everyone else who's been supporting this movement as well too. So I know before the show started, I was like, damn, son. am I gonna drink anything? I mean, it's kind of early right now on the West Coast, but I had to pull out that
It is
Weezon,
early.
boy. You already know that Pinot
Hey,
Noir. It's only
yes,
right.
sir.
Word to Mello. What's in your glass? Do you have anything? Are you just chilling with what you want?
Um, the cops think this water, Playboy. They don't know what this is. This could be that Grey Goose, big bed. They think this water. This ain't water, Playboy. So shouts to the sponsors. But so for anybody that asks, this is water. Anybody else, you know what I'm saying? We talked about what this might be, what it could be, what it's not. You know what I'm saying? Allegedly speaking, cops think it's water, Playboy. This ain't water,
Mhm.
but
For sure, for sure. Hey, can we get a
but yeah,
cheers though?
man.
Can we get a virtual
Hey,
cheers?
for sure. To
Ah,
100 episodes, to prosperity, to putting your mind into creativity and not just what society would hackle you into. So cheers to the Seezus Show. Cheers to friendship. Cheers to our viewers, man. It's all love. Yes,
very
sir.
well said. Very well said. I appreciate it, man. Mm, mm.
Same
So,
water, Playboy.
a lot has happened, man. Obviously, you went out of town,
Bro,
so we
what?
couldn't get you on the last pod, but a lot has happened, and things just continue to unfold in the NBA. So it's only right to essentially just get into today's hottest topic. So obviously, you
Yeah, man.
guys already know the blockbuster trade of all blockbuster trades, maybe of all time. It's just kind of crazy. I'm talking about King James Harden. Um, Officially got traded earlier this week to Brooklyn,
Yeah.
joining the old team in Kevin Durant, Kyrie, basically to give the Nets another super team, another big three. Um, and it's crazy. So a lot has happened. So in the trade, the Nets said the Nets sent Jared Allen and forward Taurean Prince to Cleveland, and they sent the guard Karis LeVert over to the Pacers
To Indiana.
for
Yeah.
Victor Oladipo as well too. So it's just kind of crazy how things unfolded as well. So I'm thinking of all the different trios that we've had, and obviously the trios that I'm about to name, Timmy, Manu, Tony, LeBron, Wade, Bosh, um, Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Ray Allen, Paul Pierce, and KG. There's been so many different types of big three. So now I'm just kind of wondering like where are these guys going to rank and whatnot as well too. But before we even go into that, I just want to mention a couple of things of how things unfolded, man. Like, damn, I we kind of knew right that he was going to get traded, but we alluded to in earlier episodes that he's still in the contract, right? So he's still got a
Yeah.
couple 2-3 years left, so there's no real rush to trade him. But when you just see all these things beyond the ground surface, you're just like, damn, like this guy's gonna go away as soon as possible. So it was kind of crazy when they had the season sweep against the Lakers. He literally went viral. I didn't even get to watch the game, but he went viral and basically said, yo, my team isn't good enough. I did all I could for Houston. I'm out. Then you got Boogie saying like, "Yo, the disrespect has been here since training camp," and then you got John Wall saying like, "Ultimate
Let's hoop.
professional, John Wall, ultimate professional." But he was just really just like, "Yo, like, why give up on just 9 games? You're not even giving your all. Clearly, you're not giving your all. But if we come together, we can make something work. We can make something happen." So that was kind of a little punch in the face as well too. But I guess from all that before even going to James Harden and whatnot, like how do you feel about how he handled his departure from the Rockets? Do you think he could have handled it better, or that was just the cards dealt in his hands, and that's how he was ultimately going to end up going to the Nets?
I think he had already was vocal about his intentions from the start. You know, uh, let's drag it back 100 episode. Let's take it to the next level. Drag it back to our relationship analogy. You know what I'm saying?
I love
So
it.
many people want So many people want communication. So many people want, hey, you know what I'm saying? If you would just told me to stand up third, and maybe if I would have knew what it was, and at this point, yes, the history was a weight on them. So It could have been, oh, we can make it better, whatever like that. But he had already said the set run its course. We had seen multiple experiments. We had seen the Dwight Howard era. We had seen Chris Paul. We had seen all of that. And even with them making these deals, we saw the different philosophies and the different styles they wanted to play in. They wanted to play small ball. Dwight Howard was the kind of last ditch attempt at playing with a big man. They had Clint Capella, who was more of a hybrid scorer, pick and roll kind of guy. But with all that being said, this came down to the straw, and James Harden was like, "Look, this was nice, this is cute, but you guys love the thought of me more than you actually like the idea of me." You know what I'm saying? So like a breakup is imminent. He's like, it doesn't matter what you do, how it's gonna go. The feeling is lost. The passion is lost. There's nothing here anymore between us. So we need to go ahead and, piece it out. And what we saw was, from a surface level, we saw that the Rockets trying to figure out where they were going to go next. They also understood that you weren't going to get this kind of caliber right back, right? You could get a lot of potential. You could get different things that might resemble this person, but you're not gonna get that person right back that you just had a relationship with, because there's not a market for it. You know what I'm saying? Like it takes a while. It takes a while to do that kind of stuff. So it was always that there, and I think as it occurred, the crossfires, the collateral damage happened with John Wall, with Boogie Cousins. It wasn't, I think, anything personal, but James Harden was fed up. He wasn't trying to come to training camp. He wasn't trying to do this. He had already said, look, I want to be on a contender team. I know this is not a contender team with the pieces we have. I don't want to be in Houston. And that's what that was. How did he handle it? In my opinion, I think, he was a communicator. It happened. He said, yo, I'm not want to be here. That's what happened. I think for anybody having their pride, being John Wall, being Boogie Cousins, people trying to win, also being in a new situation, you're gonna feel the type of way. So I don't think anything was personal, but I think everything that happened, it was about pride. It was about having to do what they needed to do. John Walls to come into this new franchise and win and do what I need to do, along with Boogie Cousins and the rest of the guys. James Harden was, hey, let me get to a contender so I can be happy in a new place, like I said I wanted to be.
Yeah. So damn. Yeah, that's just crazy, man. It's good that the Rockets were able to move on from, like you said, obviously you can't always get what you've grown to love. But
Yeah,
you can rebuild from that. You know what I'm saying? It may take some
yeah.
time, but you'll definitely find a way out of that situation. But just time heals all wounds, right? So I guess moving forward, how do you feel the Rockets are going to pan out this season? I mean, they got John Wall, who's basically he's a superstar. He's still a superstar.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they got Boogie Cousins, who obviously came off the ACL injury and the Achilles injury back-to-back years. Diamond in the rough with Christian Woods. Do you think they're a playoff contending team, or obviously they got Oladipo as well too? So
Yeah.
do you see one them being a playoff contending team, and do you see Oladipo and Wall coexisting and playing well together, and possibly seeing the Victor Oladipo of old?
I think with health, anything is possible. I think Vic, even seeing some flashes of him this season, getting up, dunking the ball, being looking super athletic, not the surefire, oh, this is Indiana, Victor Oladipo of old, but I think the health as it comes with for all of them, all that three or that trio, Wall, Depot, Cousins, along with supporting cast that has been tenured and can really play well together. Um, I think there's an upside with some of the games they dropped early. It's a young season. We might be what 12, 13 games in at tops right now for everybody, along with the COVID stuff that's going on that we'll talk about
Yeah.
later. I think there's a clear shot chance, but they have to come together. I think, like Wall was saying, like, look, we just want people in this locker room that want to be here, that want to, compete, that want to win, that want to try to be the best we can be. They have those people there right now. Do I have thoughts about a possible other moves they could make that, maybe Depot won't be there forever or in different scenarios? Yeah, but I think with what they have right now on paper, and reports saying that this might not all be done as far as just forming teams and the trades and stuff like that. I think they have a good shot. There's veterans on that team. John Wall's also been to the playoffs. This is a new conference. It's the Western Conference. So, coming down the stretch, it's a lot tougher, a lot tighter than the East was. Um, but given health, given them playing to the best of their abilities, I think that team could surprise some people and be better than a team that was just dismantled by free agency and a trade and a new outlook and a new organization and a new coach. It would actually look like they're a sleeper team.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you as well too. I'm glad they got all those draft picks as well. So we always know the draft picks. Hopefully they have a good staff to find someone that they think that can either add to what they're trying to build around. It looks like with John Wall, obviously he has a pretty hefty contract, but he's still a superstar player. Or to look to try to get some trade bait as well too. So it's going to be interesting to watch as well. So will they
All
make
that.
the playoffs? I'm not sure. Can they make the playoffs? Absolutely. I guess that's another thing, or another good thing of with everything going on. There's going to be some playing seeding games as well too. So
Hmm.
it's a little too early to tell. I want to see Victor Oladipo for a couple amount of games because he showed flashes this season after coming off that horrific injury on what he can do. But it's kind of hard because the Pacers are so talented, so skilled. They have a lot of depth, so anyone can go off at any given night. So it makes sense where you'd have games where he's like, oh, all right, you're the man, and then he has some games where, oh, well, Brogdon, you're playing well. Um,
Yeah.
and Sabonis, you're playing well. I'm gonna take the step back. I'm just gonna facilitate tonight, or I'm just gonna play hard on the defensive end. So, yeah, I like the pieces that they got back. More importantly, those draft picks. So that's gonna be interesting to see, and also look out. I wouldn't be surprised if Victor Oladipo doesn't finish his season there because he is on an
Facts.
expiring contract as well too. So I definitely wouldn't be surprised if he gets traded if that experiment doesn't work out as well too. So obviously you're the big conspiracy theorist guy over here as well. Every now and then I buy into it depending on exactly the topic and whatnot. But I think the Brooklyn Nets were playing chess this whole time, bro. Everything just kind of unfolded at the same time.
Holla at me.
Obviously, it started with James Harden saying that he's disgruntled. He only had two options at one point. Well, first it was just Nets, Nets, Nets. Then he opened it up to the Philadelphia 76ers, which I thought he was going to go to. That seemed
Facts.
like the best move. Him for Ben Simmons straight up with the draft pick or two. Like that seemed like it right now. Um, but yeah, so memory lane, bro. So hear me out. So Kyrie is playing like an MVP caliber type of player, and then all of a sudden he takes a leave of absence. Now, obviously, there's been videos that have surfaced the internet, and apparently his younger or older sister, I really don't know, but he has a sister, and it was her birthday, and it looked like they were at a private little function for her birthday, as well too. He doesn't reach out to anybody. Well, he reaches out to the teammates. Apparently, Steve Nash said he didn't know, but he was in communication with his teammates as well too. He pulls up on the Zoom when they have a game, I believe against either the Nuggets or against the Knicks or something like that as well too. Um, and obviously, James Harden is disgruntled, right? So
Yeah.
with James Harden, it's like, all right, you're gonna get traded. We just don't know exactly when, but knowing the Rockets, knowing when you trade a superstar caliber player, you want something in return. So with me, if I'm a Rockets GM, I'm like, yo, I'm trying to get Kyrie Irving, but Kyrie Irving has this stigma around him that he is just always on his own little wave. He's a little bit crazy. He's kind of out of tune with everyone that's in the NBA as well too. And he's known for missing games. Let that be clear. Obviously in the past has been injuries, but this one was a little weird. So if you're gonna blow up in the media and you're away from everyone, from the Rockets, and they're like, "Yo, do we want to take on this headache right now?" So Kyrie Nets on the side, you do what you gotta do because I do feel like he had to depart. He had to depart, but I think it kind of just worked out and it was kind of a coincidence as well too. So I think the Nets were like, "Yo, we know what we signed up for. Do what you
Yeah.
got to do. because we're looking at the landscape in the West with the Clippers, and we're looking at the Lakers, and we're looking at the East with the Bucks, the Celtics, all these teams. I think we're
Yeah.
good. We just lost Spencer Dinwiddie, and I think we got to get a little better. And I think that was always in the plans. I think Kyrie and I think KD were orchestrating this on the low. So they're like, all right, well, if society, if the NBA society deems me as the crazy one, let me show them how crazy I can be, and I'm gonna lower my trade stock. So when this does happen again, y'all motherfuckers can't trade me. Meantime, Harden, arguably one of the best scorers within the past decade, right? He comes
Hmm.
back from training camp or whatever. I think he drops like 40, and then he just drops like high 30-point games. And then all of a sudden he just decides to go in the teens. All of a sudden, who a guy who prides himself in being in shape. It looks like Uncle Harden now,
Is wearing like
instead
a
of
weight
James
vest or
Harden.
something
You
like
know what
that.
I'm saying? Wearing just tricking the whole NBA public. You know what I'm saying? And obviously with him being this grown and whatnot, and that's what's going on. And then also DeAndre Jordan is a starter out of nowhere. Jared Allen starts to get those starter minutes as well too. Outplay Rudy
Hmm.
Gobert and just looks like a bona fide starter. And obviously with Kyrie being out, you get to insert Karis LeVert in the lineup. He's playing the most minutes he's played. He's putting up godly numbers. So it all just makes sense. And then the icing on the cake was obviously James Harden coming out on some wild shit. But all that shit just seemed like it was all orchestrated, bro. It just seemed like it was all
Okay.
orchestrated. But what are your thoughts with that? Do you think it was a coincidence? Do you think it was pre-planned? Let me tap into the mind of the great Trade Day XXIV.
Oh man, so I've gotten sentiments from other outside sources, from other friends, you know what I'm saying that yo, yeah, this was already planned. Kyrie's only sitting out because he doesn't want to be traded. I think it's a combination of stuff. You have what happened, what didn't happen, and what the truth is somewhere in between there. You know what I'm saying? Or their side, our side, and the truth somewhere in between there, right? So what I'm really looking at with this is the Kyrie factor. Uh, we knew James Harden was gunning for the Nets already, right? And we know that the talks with Philly had already been there, but Philly making probably a little bit more aggressive moves in the offseason. Um, might be a little bit more true to their team. You know, they got shooters around Ben Simmons. They really want to see the process work out some way. They got Tobias Harris and stuff like that. So I think them coming off of the work they just did might have been a little bit different, but at the same time, yeah, you do that work, so might also get like another superstar. So as it proceeds, though, we hear Kyrie's not playing. This is like a week going in. On top of he's doing this kind of stuff with COVID going on, so it's like man, like it just seems super like interesting. Granted, if you want to really fall into some of this stuff, some of the lore, you know, Kyrie would be the person to do it. It wouldn't be a KD who just got back. It would be a hey, I'm not really feeling this. I'm gonna go over here and do this, as well as some of the media attention that he was getting before the season first. Just him being him, like we said. So it all kind of comes together, and it boils up to this apex of this trade, where it's just like, James Harden definitely wants out. It kind of happened overnight. He wants out. John's comments, Boogie's comments, James is gone. Kyrie's nowhere to be found, but he's safe, right? He's safe. He's safe from whatever has come over and
It's
you
just
know manhunt. You know what I'm saying? He made it back to the base in time. You know what I'm saying? Back as a kid, everybody looking for whatever like that, and you just it's like, yo, we haven't seen this person. We've been playing man for an hour. We haven't seen them not once. So all I gotta do is make it back to the base from the other side of the neighborhood, and you getting it. You know what I'm saying? So Kyrie made it back to
throwback.
the base. Throwback, you heard me? So Kyrie made it back to the base. Whether intentionally, I don't think the Nets ever had plans to deal Kyrie, solely because it's Steve Nash and company. It's a market that hasn't had this kind of star power possibly quite ever. Um, and I think one, we keep getting the KD LeBron comparisons, whatever like that. That's the Swiss Army knife within this. Now we look at two players that are very similar, being ball dominant. We have James Harden, we have Kyrie. Um, but what we don't take into account is that these players, can fill different roles in that combo guard. You can be a guard distributor, you can be a guard scorer, and they both have enough IQ and superstar ability to be one without the other, or be in tandem, or kind of work a little bit better than the media is blowing it up in proportions to be. So I think there is some validity to some of that statement. The tampering fines would be crazy. Uh, but I think, it happened how it happened. There's not a super deep, interesting conspiracy theory in this. But I do fall to the side of, Kyrie being Kyrie, and it kind of being factored in to some of the thinking of the teams when they made these deals.
Mm, mm. Very well said. Very well said as
Mhm.
well too. So obviously we got to see James Harden in action yesterday. He literally just got tossed into the fire. The Brooklyn Nets went up against the Orlando Magic. They ended up winning 122 to 115 and currently stand, I believe, sixth in the East. KD obviously is going to be KD. But more importantly, with Harden, first game back, played 40 minutes, and he was the first player in Nets history debut to average triple double, and the first player, I believe, ever to get on a new team and have a 30-plus point triple double. He ended up with 32 points, 14 assists, 4 steals, and also 12 rebounds as well too. So he had a triple double. He was actually floating around with a quadruple double with 9 turnovers, which is expected when you're not trying to walk on anyone's toes, trying to make everything perfect, and when you don't play as free and you're a
Yeah,
little anxious, a little worried, you tend to make mistakes as well too. But I
yeah,
saw a guy who picked up right where he left off at in MVP consideration every single year. I saw a guy who is naturally a point guard that can fill that was required to score, and obviously he's one of the best scorers. But I saw, what I've been missing from years past when it was baby KD and baby Harden playing together
hmm
and making that finals run with Russell Westbrook and them boys as well too. So just solely focusing on James Harden. What are
okay.
your expectations for James Harden this upcoming season on the Brooklyn Nets?
I think, in a way, it's a opportunity for, and I say rebrand, but I say rebrand in the sense of people that don't really think of Harden only in the basketball sense. We know what this guy does on the floor, but there's they only question when you're not, you know, doing exactly what they think you should be doing. So it's like, yo, James Harden, he's a scoring leader, whatever like that. That means we should be winning championships and yada 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 like that. I think the winning will come. I think, if not an Eastern Conference Finals appearance, or if not a Finals appearance, at least the Eastern Conference Finals appearance, right? This is the first year they're playing together, cool, whatever, like that. So we'll see how that goes. But I think, it'll be elevated, and it's going to be really tough to beat this team, um, that has taken the routes of other teams around the league, kind of being like the hybrid basketball. They traded away their big man. They have a DeAndre Jordan, but it's still, more five out, four out, one in kind of thing. Let's run, let's get up and down the floor, let's get these shots up, such and such, as things go. And wait, is Mike D'Antoni on that staff,
Assistant
or is he
coach, I
on?
believe.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So it's like this is the style that he's been accustomed to. This is the style that's gotten him all these championships. Now we have these two other pieces that are also here that you know, sugar spice everything nice, hopefully put it together and we make something really dope. We get farther than we were. We have tutelage of Steve Nash. We have good guys in the organization. We have other pieces that are around that can hopefully elevate us over the top from this other scenario that I was in. He's happy about it. He has the passion for it. I think he's gonna probably do anything can do to win, whether that be dishing it to a Kyrie. We saw him dishing it to a KD. I think misclaimer, the misinformation about this guy is that he's dude, he's not a great team basketball player, or you can't get it done with him. You can get it done with James Harden. It's hard for a team to get it done when one person is the sole focus of their offense. Now there's three focuses, and we're sitting here as media arguing who's going to take the last shot, whatever like that. In Houston, there was no question ever who was ever going to take the last shot. So you mix these options and you mix these possible scenarios, and I think you have a really good kind of finishing team, and the team is going to be hard to beat unless you can contain them via defense. And you can't contain KD. Harden bends the rules. It's damn near hard to contain Harden. And you can say, "Oh, I'm going to contain Kyrie." Say he wants to switch solely to the boom, boom, pat, cut, slasher, point, dish kind of role. That's hard to beat, as well as getting his own buckets too. I think you made the right kind of contraption for trouble for the rest of the league with this team, and we'll see how it goes. But I think Harden's going to be fine.
Yeah, Harden's gonna be fine, man. Key highlights: 2018 regular season MVP, 8-time All Star, 6-time All NBA First Team, Six Man of the Year in 2012, 3-time NBA scoring champion, NBA assist leader in 2017. So we know he can facilitate as well too. Um, I mean, his resume speaks for itself, right? So the biggest thing people were worried about was someone being in the system for such a long time of his nature, of his stature rather, can he buy in? And I believe that he can because, like I said, that's why I mentioned those accolades. When you've achieved every form of individual success, now it's just like what matters most. Plus, me, I've
Yeah,
already made all the money I can make. I'm still getting the check.
yeah,
I want championships. So I truly believed him when he said before the game started, even after the game, post game, I'm just going to sacrifice. So my expectations for Harden is to play more off the ball, but also I think he's going to allow Kyrie to be Kyrie, right? And I think he's going to,
yeah,
in a way, take a back seat, but be more of a facilitator, yet still get his
yeah,
buckets because I think they're all super talented. Because even if you look at the Golden State Warriors squad, you remember when Katie first came, Clay taking the back seat. He's like, I ain't taking the back seat to nobody. And if you look at Clay's
yeah.
numbers, he got better every single year. His numbers increased every single year. So I know they always argue there's not enough basketballs to go around, but
It's plenty.
looking at their roster right now, I don't think it's out of reach that KD averages 26, 27. Kyrie averages 24, 25. Harden averaged 24, 25 as well, too. So I think James Harden is going to play very, very well. Obviously, going to be an all-star select again as well, too. And I think they're going to be great. Now, the biggest thing that I'm still concerned about as well, too, obviously, we don't know the guy, right? We don't personally know Kyrie Irving. Um, but we see trends of things that he does. Now, obviously Kyrie, is one of the best basketball players that we've seen from a scorer's mentality. Definitely got that mama juice in him as well too. But there's a reason why he left Cleveland, right? Playing devil's advocate. There's a reason why he wanted to go to Boston and be his own team. There's a reason why he wanted to go from the Boston Celtics to the New Jersey Nets. Now you bring an MVP, former MVP, into the mix as well too. Do you see Kyrie Irving and do you see James Harden gelling together? Because we already know Kevin Durant has been in the Warrior system, right? Where he can get his bucket without having to have the ball in his hands and still put up his numbers. But putting Kevin Durant aside, do you think that James Harden's been embracing it, obviously, but do you think that James Harden and Kyrie Irving can make it coexist? Because a lot of people have been these trolls have been making these rumblings saying, "Hey, I've seen one game of Harden and Kevin Durant playing together. No, we don't have that much depth, right? So should we go out and trade Kyrie Irving and get just some more depth to go around these dynamic duos? So that's been the chatter lately. But yeah, do you think they can coexist?
I believe they can coexist. Just good basketball players being able to play with good basketball players. I think James Harden's sentiments were, I just want to be around people of my caliber that can hoop, and I know I can dish it to, and they know how to get it operational. And it's a basketball player's mentality. Um, maybe first to let's overcome this. I'm the best. I can do it. I can rock on my own. As the years go on, you see you're sacrificing your body for different things. Or even throughout the course of a day, you're playing pickup and you're saying, "Yo, I'm just hooping, whatever like that. I'm the best in the gym, whatever like that." As as time goes, you wear mentally, whatever like that. And then you're like, "Damn, if I just had somebody else on my team that kind of understood from a X's and O's standpoint, from an IQ standpoint, that I could rock with, it'd be dope. It would be nice." I think him and Chris Paul was a scenario of that. Maybe some outside the court kind of things, and personnel things, and you know type A, type B kind of got in the way of that. But I think this is kind of around two, but around like 2.0 for like that kind of scenario. Now it's not Chris Paul. This is Kyrie, who's also more of a scorer than anything. Um, who can play the point guard role, who has played the point guard role. We've heard Kyrie's sentiments, whether that be despite LeBron or not. Be like, yo, I just, it's good playing with somebody that can, I can trust with the last shot, whatever that quote was. Don't let me misquote him, but along those lines, I think they figure it out. And I think unless there's something drastic, like we have seen drastic from Kyrie, and the next organization just totally upset with him, I think it's gonna work out. I mean, KD, Kyrie boys. KD fine with James Harden, down for it, whatever like that. Has been on these type of teams before. I think it's gonna work out. I think it'll be tough to kind of not work out unless you just get, emotions involved and stuff like that. But I'm rooting for him, rooting for the best, rooting for Kyrie in particular, just because of the energy that he kind of is. Yeah, he's kind of off kilter ish when it comes to these headlines, this, that, and the third. But when it comes to the court, dude's a hooper. All the other stuff is very interesting. It's very interesting who says it, how they say it, why it's brought up, why the intentions here. Sometimes he doesn't help himself. We'll both agree on that. But rooting for him as a basketball player and as that's the kind of person he kind of seems to be.
Yeah, for sure. And it's crazy because no one's really making huge rumblings of what this big three can become. I guess mostly because Harden, like I said, just played, and also with Kyrie Irving, he's been MIA for quite some time as well too. But put those three aside. When you look at that roster, bruh, DeAndre Jordan, obviously you got Joe Harris, who's a sniper. We already know Spencer Dinwiddie went out. Torian Prince got traded and whatnot. You got Landry Shamet, guard Bruce Brown, Chris Chioza, Reggie Perry, Tyler Johnson. To me, what gets teams deep in the playoffs is obviously
Bench.
their stars, but their depth. And right
Mm-hmm.
now, the biggest red flag is two things: one, their depth, and two, the the amount of mileage that's on the head coach and Steve Nash being the first year coach as well too. Um, Obviously moves are going to need to be made if you make moves, if you can make moves, because right now they traded all their first round picks, and like I said, there's no brand name outside of that big three that really stands out. So in my mind, you only are really going to get someone if they get their contract bought out, like a Reggie Jackson from last year, or I think like a Marcus Morris Sr. or something like that before in years past. So um if they were to get pieces, if they could get pieces in this hypothetical, what pieces would you want around Kyrie, KD, and James Harden?
Um, you want defenders, um, possibly with some size, like you said, like kind of like a Morris kind of person, somebody with some length, possibly. Also somebody that might be able to come off the bench and you know, be a primary ball handler as well. It can get kind of a catalyst type of role, whether they don't do scoring super well, but coming to the game and kind of affect the game, possibly like a Rajon Rondo kind of did for Lakers last year, or like KCP kind of does for the Lakers. Um, So, those are glue guys that you can bet on. A guy that comes in and can bring energy, can change the tide, whether it be with his passing ability, with his defensive ability, or with his energy, length, and just enforcing this, can keep it going. Because there's going to be some stretches where we see, it kind of get off kilter. And there's been rumblings of for that transition into the bench lineup, they're going to leave James out there a little bit more so he can cook. He has space, because we always see that Kyrie and Katie come out for rotation, and then they get put back in as far as maybe Katie for a little bit, Kyrie both as that 1-2 punch. But now you have a 1-2-3 kind of option. But you also need those guys, that can continue to hold it down. So it's like, if that does become a scenario, James Harden is not out there by himself in space. Uh, so yeah, they got to look for guys like that for the right price tag, for the right time. Because I agree with you, they are a very good team, three good superstars, but when it comes down to longevity in playoffs and the and the track that is this NBA season, you need depth. You need depth, and when superstar goes down for whatever reason, not major injury, but the bangs and bruises, what happens then? Then you become a little bit, you become a little bit more less god like, less, oh, we can't beat this team. Now you're like, all right, let's take a shot at them. And maybe somebody's off. Then it's you're dealing with 1.5 of what you kind of used to be of a three-prong or a three-headed monster. Now, you kind of get them out the game. You say, hey, anybody else can beat us but him. So you got one person dealing with as far as schemes come up and stuff like that. It's a game of chess. So hopefully they do get some pieces in there, and those are the type of roles that you kind of want to see them get.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. I agree with you. Definitely some wing defenders for sure. Just looking at James Harden, Kyrie Irving in the backcourt. I'm assuming Joe Harris is going to start as well too, and then Katie's probably going to be at the forward, DJ at the five, or they have Joe Harris come off the bench, and then you just put Jeff Green into that lineup to go alongside with him as well too. I think they still need
Mm-hmm.
to solve that defensively, but sometimes your greatest defense can be your offense as well too. As far
Yeah.
as another playmaker that can come off the bench and get their own, I don't see them doing that. I see more so minutes getting staggered. So whether you have Kyrie come out, within the first 6-7 minutes, or KD, not KD, I'm sorry, James Harden come out within the first 6 or 7 minutes, I think they'll share that playmaker slash point guard duties as well too. And then another big would help as well, like someone like a JaVale McGee, right, to come and take the pressure off DeAndre Jordan as well too. Because let's face it,
Yeah.
DeAndre Jordan is DeAndre Jordan, but he's not the DeAndre Jordan that we grew up with in the Clippers. He
Yeah.
took a little of a step back, but if they can get two slight 3-and-D type of players and another backup big or a starting caliber big, um, that would complete everything as well too. Um,
Okay.
Obviously, the East has gotten stronger. Like I said before, Philadelphia 76ers are off to a hot start. Boston's playing great right now. Indiana Pacers are looking really good as well too. You can't count out the Bucks as well. Um, with all these teams that I mentioned as well, and the additions of the Nets having three superstars, is it a foregone conclusion that it's finals or bust? Now, not necessarily saying winning the championship, but the expectations when you make a move like this, if you look at all the moves that have been made in the history of things, is to at a minimum get to the finals. Do you think it's their year to get to the finals?
Yeah. Yes, from we just did all this prisoner of the moment type of thing, and honestly, just from an energy expectation around the fans, the league, it's like, yo, yes, it will be a little bit disappointing if they didn't make it, but take a step back, you're realistic with yourself. You have teams that are dogs and well coached in the East too that you never actually know. Um, the Heat still are finals. They're the reigning
What
finals
about
team
that?
that went to the East. The Eastern Conference champions. Um, the Celtics that don't look like their superstars are getting any worse. You know what I'm saying? And they're young, and Jason Tatum is 6'10" now. You know what I'm saying? He's damn near a footer. Um, you have Giannis, who, for all intents and purposes, they went all in for him, got him shooters around there. So maybe a different look coming down the stretch of the season about how they approach games that are there close in, and how the defensive schemes, how stuff works for them. You have the revitalized Doc River and Philly that was supposed to be involved in all of this mess, but is not. So we'll see how that goes with them. They have shooters around them. You still got Ben Simmons, who, again, we always bring it down to if he plays well, if he, is the person that we think he's to be, then it can happen. Joel Embiid is already exactly who we think he is.
Yeah.
Um, and that's the perennial up top with the East, right now. So I think, yes, unless something goes drastically, wrong, it would be disappointing for them to not get to the finals, or at least the Eastern Conference Finals. But the road there might not be as easy as we think.
For sure, for sure. I mean, right now they got nothing but shooters around them, even on the bench as well too. And I'm just looking at the landscape of things as well. They have three closers. We know with the playoffs is all about making adjustments from game to game and situational basketball when it's the last couple of minutes to go.
Hmm.
And having those three guys, man, this may be one of the toughest teams to stop when they're at full strength on some Golden State stuff. Now, obviously, with Golden State, well coached because of Steph Curry's contract that he was on before he re-upped, and the max not being too much with Katie taking a little less. They were also able to not only have depth but a veteran presence as well too. In a different system where Clay and Steph don't necessarily need the ball in their hands at all times, and Katie as well too was able to work. So if they can make this come together, honestly, this may be the easiest times for them to get buckets because you really can't cheat off of Joe Harris, who's a sniper. You can't cheat off of Kyrie. You can't cheat off of Katie. You can't cheat off um, of Harden as well too. There ain't gonna be no boxing ones ran on one player.
Yeah, there's no
Zone
easy
that's
stuff.
out the door. You're gonna just have to play man up and just try to switch on everything. So if they make that come together, it's going to be crazy. But to answer the question that I posed earlier, if they're healthy and with their GM being this aggressive, there's no doubt in my mind he's going to try to get one or two more pieces. They're going to the conference finals and they're going to be representing the East in the NBA finals as well too. No question whatsoever as well too. Is it a little weird to you that it seems like whenever Bron re-ups and gets a championship, KD just wanna assemble another squad to go at him, bro. Ain't
I'm
that a little weird, man?
36. I'm 36. James Harden went to the Mets. The Mets. The Mets. So shout out Supreme Dreams, man. Them boys rolling over there. But I mean, hey, he go west, they go east. He go east, they go west. I mean, he's the perennial power, the Thanos. You better run, you know what I'm saying? Because you can't hide. He's LeBron James, the Washed King, 36 years old, and everything that happens revolves around him somehow, some way. And I'm not saying this is super intentional by people. Is this down the third by any person or superstar? I just think Katie moves kind of how he kind of wants to move. He has that caliber. So he was done with it. He was like, yeah, forget the loyalty, forget whatever like that. What they're saying. I'm one of the best players. I got these championships. I'm gonna do things on my terms. But whenever moves are made from an organizational standpoint, from a legacy standpoint, as far as certain things are concerned, for different scenarios. This is Katie Assad. Uh, uh, his name, the thought of him is in the back of him. You know what I'm saying? Mum's the word. Don't say that man's name. You know what I'm saying? Beetlejuice. That's all it is. Don't say his name. You know what I'm saying? Candyman. Right there, boom, he appears. All that good stuff. You know what I'm saying? That's who he is, and not slowing down. And if he is, he makes it look damn good that we can't see it. 'Cause he's got good of a basketball player, his stature, how he does things, how he paces himself, how he spends time on his body. So it's Candyman, bro. Don't say his name. Just don't. Just don't.
Yeah, yeah, don't. It's just a little crazy, and like I said, it. I'm not mad because it's not something where it's a KD situation where he goes to a team that was already a well-oiled machine, or it's a LeBron situation where they literally discuss this and create a team out of free agency. It's kind of like the Boston
Mhm.
Celtics where the GM says, "Hey, we've been some shit for a couple of amount of years. I try to make the past prime, Paul Pierce, KG, and Darren Williams all work together." And I gave away hella picks, so it's not until 10 years later that I actually get everything in return, and I have some superstars I actually want to commit to this to our organization. So I don't think people are gonna actually go crazy over as well too. But yeah, I just wanted to throw that out there with how he kind of re-ups and whatnot as well too. But I mean,
Gotta get right.
I know it's a little early, but even with these three superstars, right now I still have the Lakers as the favorites because even though you
Um,
can argue who's gonna guard who on the Nets, who's going to match up against Anthony Davis with the way it's currently constructed, and who's guarding LeBron James as well too. And you have a team that's came off a championship, and LeBron's motivated more than ever with some new pieces that they got as well too. And Dennis Schroeder, Montrezl Harrell, X, Y, and Z, Marcus Gasol, and Wesley Matthews. So I think they can match up just as well. It's going to be tough, but if I were to choose someone right now, I know it's early because we haven't seen shit. I'm going with the
yeah,
Lakers still right now as my favorites.
I understand. And I might choose the same. I'm stuck with it. I haven't given it too much thought. Um, but it seems like they find a way. We haven't seen like two juggernauts of teams go up in the finals. The finals were what they were last year, because the Heat played so well down the stretch and were well coached and stuff like that. But we haven't seen like just a slugfest, by any means, where it's like who's gonna win this game? It's coming down to the wire, this and the third. Um, I'd I don't know. I don't know. I was going to say I'd argue to say that it looks good for Brooklyn as far as coming down the stretch, who can hit this, that, and the third, but it's still tough from a size standpoint. I think the Lakers move the ball very well. I think their bench is so much deeper. That's just consistency, and that's going to wear on you. I mean, you might get a few games here and there. So unless you got all three of these guys who are very much capable of scoring 20, 30, and 30, and stuff like that. Uh, I think one off night could just set you back 2 or 3 steps. You know what I'm saying? Return to go and give up $200 or go straight to the jailhouse, as they say in Monopoly. So you can't. You can't mess with the bankers, and right now the Lakers are the bankers, so that's how it is.
Nah, I feel that for sure as well. So right now the Indiana Pacers, like I said, have been playing phenomenal. Obviously, I mean, when you talk about a small market team who has to work with what they have and have to be strategic with who they allow on their roster and be a
Yeah.
part of their coaching staff and whatnot, they've been pretty damn good the past couple years. Right now they're currently 8-4 in the Eastern Conference right now. They just acquired Karis LeVert. Karis LeVert is having a career year, averaging 19.6 assists, 4 rebounds as well too. But we just got news about Karis LeVert that I guess when he was taking his physical right when he got traded, there was revealed that he had a I think he had a
Mass on
situation with
kidding.
his kidney. What was the
He had a
situation again?
he had a there was a mass found on his kidney, and
Yeah. And he's out
a
indefinitely,
lot of
right?
masses. Yeah, a lot of masses kind of they find masses places. It comes to like certain illnesses and stuff like that. So he's
Hmm.
out definitely, prayers for him because hopefully that's just something that's benign.
Yeah, I hope it's something that is as well too. Let's be the glass half full guys that we are, the naturally optimistic guys we are. Obviously, he's going to be out indefinitely, but when he comes back, we can make that assumption. He's finally going to be a full time starter now. What are your expectations for Levert being fully healthy, getting initiated into this well-oiled machine? Like I said, they have depth. They have some, not superstar tier teams, but Brogdon's been playing out his mind. TJ Warner obviously been out for a little bit. He's going to come back, and Sabonis is an all-star now. So and you got Miles Turner, who's expanded his game as well too, with a good coach. So what are your expectations for Levert when he actually suits up for the first time?
Um, I think watching shout out to Robel, who's a guest on a friend of the show. Um, Honestly, he talked about how Karis LeVert kind of could get anywhere on the floor he wanted to. That's just how good of a driver and a penetrator of the court that he is. At 6'6", averaging 18 points, kind of really that small forward slash stretch guard kind of role. Um, Being where he is in the league, I think he fits into this team very well, man. Just again, we always talk about the Pacers, a blue collar team, and they deal with guys that come in, can play their role, do what they do well, and just keep it going. Next man up. I can throw a few of these guys in there. Um, Kind of like a very athletic team like coming up. You had certain teams like I'm talking speaking high school. You have certain teams that might play a slower style. You have the teams that trap and stuff like that. But there's always a few teams like in the leagues that they were all around the same height, but they were just stupid, like athletic. They could run. You didn't really know like who was going to punch you here first. You can kind of interchange them here and there. But this is kind of what the Celtics, not Celtics, but the Pacers remind me of. Um, so yeah, they're third in the Eastern Conference right now at 8-4 behind the Bucks. The Celtics are first, um, and I think it just keeps them rolling as a well-oiled machine. We look at it right now. Right behind them is Philly, who we can see probably will change. We have the Hornets in eighth seed, which is like whoa right now. But I mean, it also changes. We have the Cleveland Cavaliers playing well. I think the Magic will slowly fall out of the mix with the injury to Markel Fultz, who's playing so well this season. But just to go back to your original point, Karis LeVert is gonna be fine from this, speaking them into existence, and he's gonna further catalyze the Pacers, um, and just their system, their mindset, how they do. So it'll be fun to watch that.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And I just want to bring to light with Carl Anthony Towns. Obviously, when the pandemic first broke, he lost his mother and several other family members to COVID as well too. And the other day, he got tested positive for COVID. And he posted on his IG and I believe Twitter, I believe. Prior to tonight's game, I received yet another awful call that I tested positive for COVID. I will immediately isolate and follow every protocol. I pray every day that this nightmare of a virus will subside, and I beg everyone to continue to take it seriously by taking all of the necessary precautions. We cannot stop the spread of this virus alone. It must be a group effort by all of us as well too. So, damn, when I saw that he got tested positive, the first thing I thought about was his family, and how some of them had pre-existing health conditions, and obviously how that resulted into death as well. I actually had my aunt's sister passed away about a week ago or a couple of days ago
Oh, God
from
bless.
COVID as well too. So rest her soul. Beautiful
RP.
woman inside and out. And yeah, man, we just gotta take COVID seriously. I just want to reiterate a couple things. Really be selective with who you're around, and just put yourself in other people's shoes. We don't know what people go through, so just try your best to move around. With just pure strategic, warlike, movements as well too. Wear your mask, try to wash your hands, and let's just take it day by day, and we'll get through this as a society. But yeah, I just want to throw that out there as well too.
Right.
Um, Moving on from that, did you hear about that news with Giannis Antetokounmpo, bro?
What exactly happened with Giannis?
All right, so this
Yeah,
was
I'm
just
not briefed.
wild, but apparently
I'm not privy.
there's some reporters. It's not it was kind of OD, nothing like it's probably not what you're gonna expect to hear that's coming out of my mouth. Pause. Um,
Okay.
but so I'm gonna just read the quote from the Athletic. Obviously, a pretty credible source. Whether or not he can actually start making them in games, however, is another matter. Giannis tried a motivational tactic during the offseason where his girlfriend would come to his workouts and she would have to run if he missed free throws, sometimes while carrying their baby son. But that hasn't seemed to solve anything, and neither did a short-lived form adjustment, which Bucks beat writer Eric Neem detailed at the Athletic. So apparently, Giannis took you know took his playoff exits to heart, where he's having his shorty run. If anything, he should take about 100 free throws, and for every free throw he missed, that's a set of suicides. So you shouldn't have your girl do that joint and have your baby with him as well too. And it's funny because um
Wait. So he was doing this because why again? Is it
I guess
superstition?
he
What's
just
going
wanted
on
to be
again?
I guess he just wanted to be motivated. And he tried to change up his
Oh,
tactics in the off season. So
oh,
when he was shooting free
so
throws,
like
whenever he
as
missed, he made his
consequence, he would see
as
his girl run.
uh
Okay.
yeah. So I guess it's a weird kind of psychological warfare in a sense as well too. But it's just like I'm not gonna let my girl and newborn baby, suffer. I'd rather be the one that puts the suffering on myself. But it was funny because one of the first things I thought about was just being West African, being Liberian, with kids. Uh, Basically, we have something called a lapa, and basically the baby gets wrapped around in the back, and the mother carries them. So I don't know if you can see this right here. This is
All
the
right.
first thing I thought about right there, and I'm
Oh
just like,
man.
bruh, come on, son, because he Nigerian too. Obviously, he's born in Greece
Oh
and whatnot,
man.
raised there, but he West
Yeah.
African too. So I was just like, come on, bro, like you can't do that. So, Giannis, I'm happy that you're trying any and everything to get better. I respect it, but that's not the right way to go about it as well too. Um,
Giannis, cut that shit out.
cut cut that shit out. Um,
That's
also, I want to bring
hilarious.
attention to Markel Fultz, man.
Yeah.
Obviously, you know, top pick in drafts from a few years ago, had the shoulder issues. Battled a lot of scrutiny from social media. But obviously we just held him to a high standard because we saw back in college what he was, and what he could become as well too. Finally got paid, um, became a full time starter, and he tears his ACL not too long ago
Yeah.
as well too. So prayers up to him, his family. At least he got that check, and it's not like the NFL, NBA is guaranteed dollars, but
Yes, sir.
hopefully he can come back better than ever. Because nowadays, when players, it looks like when they blow out their MCL, their ACL, their Achilles, with modern technology slash medicine, surgery, and all that good stuff, dieting, and just having access to more opportunity and advantages, and being in that higher echelon in the tax bracket system, I think it works in your favor. So I think he's going to be good. But hopefully,
Yeah.
use this time to definitely get better as well too. Um, what's crazy, man?
What's good?
I came out with some polls or awards or my predictions a little earlier on, and I had Cole Anthony being the prohibitive favorite to be rookie of the
Rookie of the
year.
year.
I mean, he has a shot right now. You know what I'm saying? Because Markel Fultz went down, so he's a full time starter. And obviously with Anthony Davis, no, not Anthony Davis. With Karl Anthony Towns getting tested positive for COVID, that's more shot opportunity for Anthony Edwards. But in the grand scheme of things, it's a marathon, right? So catch if everything goes well, which I think it will. Within 2 weeks, he's going to be back, and I don't really see him missing time again for an extended period of time. So the shot selection, the amount of shots that Anthony Edwards would be able to take is gonna definitely decrease as well too. Then you have
Yeah.
James Wiseman, where I think we know what he can become. He's showing glimpses every here and there, and Draymond definitely being back, being vocal, telling him where to be at, what to expect, sitting down with him, watching film is definitely going to work him wonders. But I feel like we won't see him unleashed for another year or so. Um, So that kind of leaves me with Isaac Okora. Is it Isaac Okora? I believe he's been playing very well
Okoro.
as well too. There's been a couple good players, but LaMelo Ball, bruh, he's
Killing it.
leading all rookies um, in points, rebounds, assists, steals. That sounds like a LeBron James default stat. And he was the youngest player last week ever to record a triple double as well too. So is it a foregone conclusion that LaMelo Ball is the runaway rookie of the year if things go how I just said it's supposed to go?
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
LaMelo's hooping, bro. I mean, I think is he's had professional experience already. His height, his kind of basketball IQ. There's things he'll get better at. He hasn't even grown into like his quote unquote NBA, maturity, tenure, or quote unquote body. And that's going to be scary to see, barring no injuries and stuff like that. He looks like, the new wave, new age, 2.0, 3.0, who shows after the first season or few seasons of the original they start to have Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball ZT, or such and such generations and stuff like that. LaMelo's part of that generations classification. New powers, new power ups, new finishing moves, all that stuff. So, the rookies have been impressive thus far. Um, between this year is definitely last year's too. If you want to put those guys in a Pacific pool, along with some of the guys that you did the whole G League thing that are kind of starting to filter into the league now, but we don't have as much press with them. But the younger cats are looking good, man. The league's in good hands, man, as far as hoopers go. Basketball is only getting specialized, only getting better. So shout out to LaMelo Ball with him doing what for all intents and purposes, outside of the whole family media coverage, whatever like that, we knew him to be as a basketball player.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And then my next question for you,
Hmm.
what seed did you say that the Charlotte Hornets were in right now?
They're sitting at 8 right now.
Okay, and then what seed are the Pelicans in right now?
The
Do we know what?
Pelicans
I think they started off pretty
are
hot, and then they kind of started losing as well too. So I think
Western
right now,
Conference.
um,
Pelicans are at they're damn
Pelicans are
great.
4-7, and I think they're 13th in the West right now.
Yeah,
Huh.
they're 13th. Yeah,
Lonzo's
yeah.
averaging fourth year in the league right now, 12, 4 and
Hmm.
4, and his brother is playing less
Oh
minutes,
man,
and he's averaging 11, 6, and 6
don't do
off
it.
the bench. Is LaMelo Ball better than Lonzo right now? What's your thought? I mean, I know there's a lot of things to take into consideration, but it's looking like he's better than him. He's definitely more aggressive, and to me, is a better playmaker and point guard. But just given everything I just said, just take it with a grain of salt, I guess. Who do you think is better right now?
I mean, I think LaMelo Ball, I mean, they're brothers or whatever like that. So this is not from a disrespectful standpoint, but I think since a type of maturity, when we didn't get to see LaMelo play college basketball, we got the hype from LaMelo Ball hitting the big shots at UCLA, correct? Um, I think he's always been a better basketball player than his brother. I mean, and that's not a disrespectful thing to say. I mean, I'm a hooper, I'm an athlete, but I think my little brother is also a better basketball player than me, when it comes to, head on head matchups and stuff like that. Um, I won't even get into that. But, there's different scenarios that happen with different things, but LaMelo Ball has been a better basketball player than than Melo, than I'm tripping. Lonzo LaMelo, yes, LaMelo has been a better basketball player than Lonzo. I think we're just kind of seeing it from the stats and from an organizational standpoint. He scores better. The defensive prowess might not be there, or the defensive, honestly, want or passion might not be there for LaMelo. But I think he has Lonzo beaten a lot of things, man.
Oh, yeah, for sure, for sure. So, um, you know, obviously there's the NBA was one of the last major sports to revamp and restart the new season as well too. And like you said, we have about
Mhm.
13 games under the books as well, 11 or 13 games on the books
Mhm.
as well too. But there's been so many postponements. Thunder Rockets, Heat Celtics, Pelicans Mavericks, Celtics Bulls, Jazz Wizards, Wizards Pistons, Pacers Suns, X Y and Z, X Y and Z, X Y and Z. Um, Obviously they've put in some new health and safety protocols and whatnot as well too. But are you concerned that the NBA season has a chance of not finishing the season? And then also as well too, obviously we had the bubble experiment, but we knew from a social and mental and emotional standpoint that it was a bit draining on the players and the entirety of the staff that was working there as well too. Do you see a scenario where, like I said, we finish the season, and then also, do you think it would be wise to kind of take like a 2 week hiatus and whatnot, and kind of figure out ways to slow down the spread that's happening on the league, or maybe even look at an avenue where we essentially have regional bubbles where we just play a specific team in the bubble. So maybe it's 30 teams, 30 divided by 2 or 30 divided by 3. We just put those teams and isolate them in specific regions. They play each other a couple times and then they move on to the next one. Like, how do you think the season is going to pan out given all these mini outbreaks and teams having to postpone their games?
I think overall, if the NFL could figure out a way to get it done, with clearly fans and you said yeah like that there, and
And
we're coming
also in the
up on
NFL, they have a whole week and they have what 50, 55 players on their roster too. So
yeah
that's also a thing. But carry on.
yeah. But overall, like, I think if the NFL could figure out a way to freaking crawl to the end of the season, the NBA who seems to be yeah for real bro they did seems to be better prepared for some of this stuff can figure it out. I think they keep revisiting it and the bubbles, whether it be one or from a regional standpoint, um, they want them to be last chance scenario, our last option, but we are seeing stuff where Kyrie is out in a public party, not even private household parties, out in a public party. We're seeing people like I forgot what his name was, but he was just like, "Yo, I'm a grown man,
George
I
Hill.
can yeah, oh yeah, so George Hill. So people saying stuff like that, it kind of forces his hand. This is also I think it's moving parallel with our ability as a government and a nation to push vaccines out and a CDC kind of thing. There's a lot of different moving parts to this stuff that the NBA can't control. I think you're seeing more and more that is forcing their hand to do so. So they said we're going to go stricter policies, but after the stricter policies, I can full sail see them saying, "Yo, all right, we gotta do these regional bubbles, y'all, or look, we'll come together, play for 3 weeks. You get a week off." And kind of do certain stuff like that, but there's also these TV deals that they collective bargaining. Nobody wants money taken out of their pockets anymore after all of the fuss that we just had. So there's going to be somehow, some way they're going to figure this thing out. So whereas there's not going to be much of a stop, whether um, that they can't keep playing. There might be a short break for them to put stuff in place or say, "Yo, this team, you're going here, you're going here. We're all going to go in these 4 different bubbles and we're going to play." And then once the playoffs come, then we'll have that scenario. But there's no scenario where the league doesn't finish playing. Um, and there's a responsibility, Uh, and I'm the biggest critic of a lot of this stuff, of course. But for different things, there are different responsibilities, right? So different hats, different responsibilities. Me and you have a responsibility. We're coming and going with our families, with our friends. Them, doing their job, have a responsibility when it comes to coming for the team and this, that, and the third, in the nature of this, as well as different strands of it, and how do we don't really know if the vaccine is going to take on these other strands that are coming to light as we've seen it. But it's about um, compassion. I don't know if empathy is the word, but it's about, just viewing others how you would want to be treated, and from a family standpoint of I know I'm the big man on campus with this team, but there might be a guy at the end of the roster, at the end of the bench that needs this check every game to keep playing and stuff like that. Uh, so they have to think about that stuff. The league already has things in place, I believe, but they're waiting to roll them out because they're trying to the best of their abilities to keep everybody happy. Definitely their players, but as things go on, as things evolve, as the days push along, we could definitely see a scenario where there's a bubble like atmosphere of not a conventional bubble like we saw last year.
Interesting, interesting. Yeah. Um, I agree 100% with everything that you said. So hopefully we can solve something out because this NBA season's been pretty great.
Yeah.
Seems like it gets better and better every single year. Always new storylines, and this is the most talent that we've ever had as well too. And I just love the way that players continue to realize that they have a voice in their platform. And their voice mixed together can bring about greatness as well too. So I respect that. Um, yeah, I guess the last thing. I'm going to give you my top 5 MVP picks and let me
Okay.
know if you agree or disagree. If you agree, boom, we're done. If you disagree, let me know who you would swap out. So, number one, no particular order, but I guess it can in a way. Number one, I'm going to go with LeBron James. No one's really talking about the Lakers like that. I don't know if it's they're still in the championship high. There's so much other drama going on, protocols, and the whole net situation, all this stuff as well too. They seem like they're the team that has the most discipline, not only on the court but off the court. I haven't heard any COVID protocols with them as well too.
Facts.
No, nothing happened. So
Everybody's staying at LeBron's house. That's why.
everybody staying in LeBron house, enjoying that Taco Tuesday, bruh. But
Taco
yeah,
Tuesday.
LeBron number one is out playing AD. Is what year 18 now? Just turned 36. Number one in the West. Come on now. Number
Crazy.
two, I'm gonna go with Paul George, just because of the scrutiny he faced last year. New
Okay.
coaching change, more creative freedom on the offensive end. You added in more depth, and he's putting up, some great numbers as well too. 25, 6, and 6, I believe, something around that, and they're number two in the West. We'll also go with Joel Embiid. He seems like he's taking his
He's
diet more
hooping.
seriously. Doc Rivers has empowered him to be the guy. Now there's no question on is it Ben Simmons' team or is it Joel Embiid's team? It's his team, no question. Daryl Morey came in, added more spacing for Joel Embiid so he can actually play to his strengths as well too. And
Yeah.
they've been on a tear in the Eastern Conference. Kevin Durant, he's probably going to win Most Improved Player as well, Comeback Player of the Year as well too. And like I said, MVP consideration just because he came off a motherfucking, excuse my French, a motherfucking Achilles injury and is averaging damn
Um,
near 30 right now. And
yeah.
it's
Slim Reaper.
ridiculous. It looks like he hasn't missed a motherfucking step, and it's fucking crazy. And
Shaking.
also, I was a little torn between who I was going to give this fifth one to. I'm gonna give it to CJ McCollum right now, and it kind of sucks because he just sprained his foot. But
Yeah.
he'll be back in no time. But he's put up career numbers. Um, they're third or fourth in the West right now, and he was averaging 27 points,
Stiff.
um,
That's the
5 assists, 4 rebounds, and they were winning as well too. So those are my 5 picks for MVP. Do you agree? Disagree? What would you swap out?
um I very much agree with those picks. I think just looking at some of the standings currently, uh I'm not sure, because I haven't seen too much of their games, but if they're doing it by committee or if Devin Booker is just going crazy down there alongside CP3. Um, so, something to take a look at, a mention. I think
Okay.
CJ McCollum was a great pick. The Jazz sitting at three in the West right now. Wondering, is that because Spider Mitchell's going off or what? Again, one of those lower market teams you don't see it too often. But I think your picks were really, really, they're solid for right now. We'll see as the league plays out. As hopefully they get to continue playing, barring this COVID. COVID-19 pandemic. But uh, those are solid picks for MVP right now.
I appreciate it, boss man. I appreciate it, boss man. Well, I mean, that was all that we had for episode
Sheesh.
100, 10 to the
Sheesh.
whatever power, episode 100. Thank you guys for being a part of this journey that's ongoing and never ending. And
Yeah,
I just
man.
appreciate any and everything and everyone as well too. And we're just going to continue to keep pushing forward. So, like I said, it's a milestone, but as Kobe would say, job's not finished, job's not done.
Yeah,
We just
man.
keep pushing forward. Any last words you want to say?
Yeah, I'll give a little spiel, man. A little spiel. But first off, appreciate everybody that is listening and supported. Picked it up, whether we shot it to them or just picked it up saying, "Yo, I've seen this, we heard this." People that rock it, retweeted. Even just spend the 2-3 minutes to listen to the chopped up videos. The support team behind us. Wave. Um, Ripple, the whole support team, as well as the graphics and just the home team, RBA, VA family, and abroad, the East Coast, West Coast, national, different people that contribute, make us look dope, and I don't even think about, or that we're just in communication with. So I really appreciate that. It's 100, yo. So it's really big and really important that we just give it up, even to we haven't rose. We're still on our journey. We haven't rose to
Yeah.
having NBA guys up here, or whatever like that. But even them, it's a thank you because we get to break that stuff down. We get to put them as forefront in our conversations and stuff like that. Them being real as people, just like we're real as people. So just it's an ecosystem, and no matter where you're at within the ecosystem, within the chain of life, the chain of creativity within this process. You just got to give reverence to the people parallel, to the people that are on the totem pole, whether quote unquote above you, below you, whatever like that. Me and Sir Caesars really, really, really appreciate that. To combating as minorities, as people that would say stuff like "shut up and dribble," whatever like that. That there are platforms that we can come out, talk our stuff, and get across important issues, get across entertaining issues, get across uh, heavy, lighthearted, all that is super duper 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 important that we can have a place to speak. And we appreciate you guys for rocking with us from that standpoint. But yeah, episode 100, man. It's all love on this side, man. I'm rocking with you. So that is what it is, man.
Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Very well said.
So
No need to add to it, ladies and gentlemen. That was episode 100 of the Seezus Show. Make sure to subscribe on all forms of social media at Sir Seezus, the Seezus Show, traded XXIV. And on that note, we out.